This is the San Francisco 49ers Report. My name is Chase Sr. Thanks for hanging out here with me. What a matchup we have in Week 3. San Francisco 49ers playing host to the Arizona Cardinals, a huge game inside the NFC West. And here's what the Niners have to do to beat Arizona, in addition to matchups to look out for. You look at the NFC West standings going into Sunday. The Niners are 2-0. The Cardinals are 2-0. The Rams are 2-0, and the Seahawks are 1-1. By season's end, I really have no idea who's going to win this division, and we're going to see some fireworks in the NFC West all year because I think this division is very competitive, and there are some high-level teams, and with that, a lot of these games inside the division are going to be close. With that, let's flip the page to my keys to the game. I have 5 of them for all of you, and when you watch this show, I want you to become a more informed Niner fan. And so hopefully we can do that with our analysis and our breakdowns here. Key to the game number 1, San Francisco has to contain quarterback Kyler Murray. San Francisco, over the last few years, as they've run this wide 9, they have really struggled against mobile quarterbacks who have been able to burn the Niners defense with their feet and with their legs. In week 4 last year, week 5 last year, October 5th, 2024, the 49ers blew a 23-10 lead against Arizona. They scored all of those points in the first half. They got blanked after halftime, and they were falling apart at the seams. Offense, defense, and on special teams. And the Cardinals were able to get on the board early and strike first, but the game's first touchdown thanks to a 50-yard Kyler Murray rushing touchdown. And San Francisco's angles on that play were poor, but this is all a part of a bigger problem for the 49ers when they go up against these quarterbacks who are fleet of foot. Because they run this wide 9, and this is where the wide 9 can really hurt San Francisco here. Because with their front 4 alignment, oftentimes their defensive linemen are so spread out. And their job is to pin their ears back, be aggressive, get after the quarterback, and get upfield to try to collapse the pocket. But when you do that with that wide 9 alignment against a quarterback like Kyler Murray, who is so twitchy in how he's able to run and with his footwork, even if the pocket does break down, he sees that sliver of daylight to carve through that wide 9. And then even if you're doing your job in coverage and everybody is holding up, because the pass rush gets upfield, that middle area of the field is left vacant, leading to chunk running plays for quarterbacks like Kyler Murray. So disciplined pass rush lanes going to be important. Pass rush lane integrity is going to be important in this game, and setting the edge against Kyler is something that San Francisco is going to have to do. From 2022 to 2024, the 49ers allowed the 12th most rushing yards per game, 2 quarterbacks, 28.5 per game. And it's often due to those schematic gaps. Excuse me. So you look at this, and this is kind of the game plan that I would put together. This is how the 49ers can contain Kyler Murray in week 3 on Sunday, and how they can stop the rushing attack and keep him from burning this Niners defense with his legs. You have to have those disciplined pass rush lanes. You have to set the edge and keep him contained in the pocket. Don't let him break contain. What he also really likes to do is to create plays out of structure and improvisationally, especially given his lack of height. He doesn't see the field well, especially with some bodies in front of him as the pocket gets muddied. So if he starts to feel that the pocket is breaking down or pressure is getting to him, he's going to run around to try to create plays downfield and make plays with his feet. He is a true dual threat quarterback. When this Niners pass rush gets upfield, that's fine, right? Because this is part of the Niners scheme and what makes them such a violent pass rushing team at times. But the linebacker security at that second level is going to have to be there, and San Francisco will have to tackle well. Wouldn't be surprised if Robert Saleh has a quarterback spy from time to time, but you don't want to always do that because it takes a defender away from your coverage unit. And then another way to contain Kyler Murray in the pocket and not allow him to hurt you with his feet and his legs is to run some twists and stunts so that he gets confused with what he's seeing. You clog up his vision line and you blur his vision line, but then you run those twist stunts up front, and he's not really sure where the pressure is coming from, and sometimes he can lack that processing power. Key to the game number 2, the 49ers, like they did against the Saints, have to protect Mac Jones. Mac Jones is a completely different quarterback when he's clean compared to when he's under duress. And this is a Cardinals team in 2025. I started to notice this during the preseason. They have a talented, violent, physical, and deep defensive line. And Jonathan Gannon has been able to really craft a defense that is growing, progressing, and getting better since coming to the Cardinals as head coach after he was previously the defensive coordinator for the Philadelphia Eagles. And what he preaches is a defense that plays fast and physical. And so if the Cardinals are able to generate a pass rush on Mac Jones, it could really throw this Niners offense out of whack and throw a wrench into their offensive plans. I showed you these numbers going into that Saints game, but they still apply, especially with what we saw against New Orleans when Mac Jones was kept clean. Mac Jones against pressure in 2024. When he was kept clean, you see how the completion percentage is so much higher, 72.1%, compared to when he's under pressure, 38.9%. When he's not blitzed, completion percentage, 69%. When he was blitzed, 56.6%. Of course, for Mac, he always has to limit the turnovers because that's been a problem throughout his career. In 2023, when he was kept clean, a similar story here, ladies and gentlemen. 71.8% completion rate, but when he was under pressure, it plummeted to 46.2%. When he was not blitzed in 2023 with the Patriots, 65.9%. When he was blitzed, 61.7%. And so there is a consistent theme there, whether Mac has played for New England or Jacksonville. Much better quarterback when he is kept clean in the pocket. And against the Saints, among the Niners' 7 highest graded players, 6 of them were offensive linemen. Really good sign for San Francisco here, and hopefully they can duplicate that performance. This is also going to be a big game coming up for the rookie 7th-round pick out of Iowa, Connor Colby, who's stepping in for Ben Bartch, who got hurt against New Orleans at left guard. Jonathan Gannon knows that. And so he's going to try to stack the box on the side of Connor Colby, come up with some defensive play calls to really confuse a rookie like that, and Colby has to hold up. I went back and watched the tape. I mean, he was really good against New Orleans, and he's a huge upgrade over Ben Bartch, who, to no one's surprise, is injured again. And against the Saints, Colby, pass blocking grade according to PFF, 73.6. He had 0 penalties, 0 sacks, no hits given up, 0 pressures on 61 snaps. The Cardinals up front, here are some players to look out for here. Darius Robinson, going into year 2, Cardinals high on him, stock is up. Baron Browning, a really good player. Mac Wilson, Akeem Davis-Gaither, and then Arizona brought in Josh Sweat this offseason. He had a career year under Jonathan Gannon in 2022 when Gannon was the DC for the Eagles. Sweat had 11 sacks. He was good in 2023, excellent in 2024. A big reason why the Eagles won that Super Bowl. The Cardinals needed to get better at that pass rushing spot, which is why they gave Josh Sweat $19 million. And so far, so good for him. He had a big strip sack of Bryce Young in that game in week 2. Key to the game number 3 for the Niners. Take away tight end Trey McBride. The entire Cardinals passing offense goes through McBride. He's one of the best tight ends in the NFL, probably a top 5 guy in that realm of George Kittle. Brock Bowers has really good size at 6'4", 246. He moves very well. What's interesting about McBride, not the best red zone option throughout his career. He hasn't scored a lot of touchdowns, but Kyler Murray loves throwing him the rock. Whether it's down the seam, down the numbers, into the flat, he can pick up yards after the catch. He is a matchup nightmare for linebackers and smaller nickel corners. So far this season, 12 catches for $139. Kyler Murray's going to look his way on that first read almost every single time. And what's odd about Arizona's offense so far this year is the lack of wide receiver involvement. And up until this point, Marvin Harrison Jr. has been somewhat of a disappointment with what he did at Ohio State, how early the Cardinals drafted him, and what other rookies in that receiver class from 2024 are doing so far. Malik Neighbors is a top 5, top 10 wideout. Brian Thomas is an absolute stud. Marvin Harrison Jr., for whatever reason, hasn't been able to find his rhythm, groove, or confidence with Arizona, and that connection between Kyler and him hasn't been on point. So far through 2 games, only 7 catches for 98 yards. Along a 45, that's good, that's an explosive, but the production somewhat limited. Michael Wilson is the Cardinals' second leading wideout. He only has 2 catches for 16 yards in 2 games. Good size, though, 6'2", 213. And then Greg Dortch, he's played very well against the Niners. He's a smaller player who's shiftier, who the Cardinals are sometimes going to try to get involved with bubble screens and some gadget plays. 5'7", 175, but home run playmaking ability. Through 2 games, he only has 2 catches for 9 yards. And so matching up against McBride going to be a big matchup for Fred Warner, D. Winters, and I imagine at times Upton Stout, the rookie slot corner, will be one-on-one with Trey McBride too, and he's going to have to hold up. Key to the game number 4, stop this Cardinals rushing attack. The pass game really hasn't been explosive or all that impressive. Part of that is because of the aforementioned lack of wide receiver involvement and the offense going through Trey McBride. Kyler Murray has really tried to emphasize being accurate with the ball, getting rid of the ball early, and not turning it over. And look, it's worked so far. The Cardinals are 2-0, but a staple of this Cardinals offense is their ground game. And they're going to lean on that a lot. Trey Benson is a player who I like coming out of Florida State, and the Cardinals have been waiting for him to break out. Looks as though the breakout year might be here. 11 carries for 83 yards this season. 52 of them came on 1 play. And then Mr. Steady, Mr. Reliable, the cancer survivor, unbelievable story, who is closing in, I think, on becoming the all-time leading touchdown scorer at running back for Arizona in franchise history. It's James Conner. And the 49ers have struggled against James Conner because of his physical running style. And last year, they were so bad at tackling. This year, they've gotten better, but they're going to have to tackle in space and in the trenches when things are condensed against Arizona. Conner, 6'1", 233. So he's really a bull at that running back spot. He's been a workhorse the last few years. 23 carries, 73 yards, and a touchdown this season. And then you have to remember that Kyler Murray is such a dangerous runner. Those quick feet, he can really take off in a blink. 5'10", that's generous. Kyler Murray is like 5'9" on a good day. But with him not being able to see it all that well, that's why him extending plays in the pocket with his feet and running makes him difficult to defend. He has 14 carries for 70 yards so far this year. And then lastly, what I really liked about Kyle Shanahan's game plan and play calling with Mac Jones at quarterback, he leaned into a strength of Mac Jones. And that's Mac being able to run the system, play point guard, and distribute the pill. And against the Saints, 8 different players caught a pass from Mac Jones. And while San Francisco doesn't have its juggernaut players to catch footballs right now, no George Kittle, no Brandon Ayuk, Ricky Pearsall has been incredible. Jawan Jennings was awesome against the Saints. The Niners, I think, are better off right now with a well-rounded offensive attack. And that's helping to make up for not having some of their stars. And it makes them difficult to defend because you really do have to defend every blade of grass from sideline to sideline vertically. And then Mac Jones, with that processing ability, able to layer throws with Christian McCaffrey running the ball and catching it. You're posing as an offense so many threats to the opposing defense, and you have to do that against a team like Arizona. They're really good at all 3 levels, and Budda Baker, Calais Campbell, they're still studs. Budda Baker, obviously not as old as Calais Campbell, but he's still one of the top safeties and playmakers in the game on defense. And Calais Campbell, he's in his late 30s, so disruptive as he's on his way to the Hall of Fame. All right, predict the score. Cardinals, Niners, get those score predictions in. I think San Francisco wins this game. And I'm going to go Niners 25, Cardinals 20. I do think it is a close game because I think people are underrating the Cardinals. I think it comes down to some late game execution. The Niners have been better there the first 2 games of the year as compared to Arizona. And with overall talent and coaching, I just think San Francisco is better than Arizona and well-positioned right now. So Mac Jones gets another win. San Francisco moves to 3-0. That's my prediction. Thanks for watching the preview.